story of growing up a black nerd in Atlanta, the chocolate city, wasn't as fun as you think. So we were riding along, and I heard him turn to my friend and say, "Where'd y'all get her from?" I held my breath. I didn't know what my friend would say. I didn't think she'd throw me under the bus, but you never really know in these testy teenage moments. She responded, "She's our friend," and shrugged. I breathed a sigh of relief. That was quickly replaced by fear and worry. The jig was up. I'd made it to the ripe old age of 16 wearing cool kids clothes, and now my secret was out. I wasn't a cool kid. I never was. I was a nerd. An Edgar Allan Poe reading, science fiction watching, Zelda playing nerd. From that point on, I knew the feelings I'd had as a child weren't just in my own head. I was the definition of a square peg, and right now my teenage life was filled with round holes. I was in trouble, and I had no idea how I would get out of it. But at least my friends had my back and wouldn't abandon me for being an odd bird. Of course, there we go. Well, to be honest, as I got older, I wouldn't get invited to the more adventurous outings. But in hindsight, I get it. I wasn't just a nerd. I was a bit of a goody two-shoes. Well, let me be clear. It wasn't so much that I was anti-teen tomfoolery. It was more that I was this self-designator pointer out of the tomfoolery in advance of said tomfoolery. Actually, let me just keep it all the way 100. I was all in on the tomfoolery, but usually a hard pass on the shenanigans. What's the difference? Let me tell you. Tomfoolery consists of outings where it involved teenage hijinks. It can include things like walking around the neighborhood and ending up falling over a fence to escape something. I don't remember exactly. Hopping on MARTA and going to Freaknik in 1994. I was too young, but it was loads of fun, never to be replicated again, but I digress. Driving around downtown back when there was cruising on Peachtree Street. Dancing the night away at a neighborhood party where you accidentally fall off the back of a slowly moving truck. Yep, tomfoolery. Shenanigans consist of outings where jail, injury, or death were potential outcomes. Really, anything that would guarantee the involvement of my mother, because she was not with the nonsense. And since Miss Juanita Sims McCallum, that's her name, was not here for the play-play, I was a vocally hard pass on the shenanigans. But as we grew older, tomfoolery began to meld into shenanigans. So I found myself in on a Friday night more often than I preferred. So it forced me to find another place for tomfoolery. And being the nerd that I am, I just got more involved with extracurricular activities. And since I'd already gotten a taste of life as a cool kid, I knew my love of science fiction and astrology could not be fed after school. I had to feed my love of basketball players, dance and team spirit. It was. But I did manage to stay in touch with my other homies. It was the 90s, go with me. I did also find myself spending time doing more of the good, clean fun. It was nowhere near the level of tomfoolery that I experienced before, but the threat of Miss Juanita Sims McCallum was below 10%, so I could rock with it. However, on those occasions where I did spend time with my cool kids, homies, I found myself increasingly at a loss. The shenanigans virtually eclipsed the tomfoolery, but I did not want to see them. They'd been my besties since elementary school. And if they didn't ditch me after I was put in the special advanced group where we would go on science field trips and do word puzzles for fun during school, I had no intention of ditching them for good, clean, tomfoolery-like fun. Plus, I wasn't no scaredy cat. I was up for the challenge, or so I thought. Now, I hope you're starting to sense a pattern. Not only am I a nerd, I'm one of the overachiever types. So as I reckoned with being a goody two-shoes with my cool kid homies, I looked for easy ways to get some street cred. I started with the lowest of low-hanging fruit, boys, because I was into them. I was surrounded by the type of boys that would fit the bill, cute ones too. But no, I couldn't just hook up with one of those boys. I had to find a guy who I met fresh out of jail, who was engaged in dubious part-time work that involved standing outside all day. It was the 90s. The pre-marijuana legislation was in its infancy. Once my parents purchased Call Block, again the 90s, for our house phone, and began to forbid me from going anywhere outside of school, work, and after-school activities, I stopped seeing the value in my street cred boyfriend. So I dumped him and started dating a popular football player in high school, at a rival high school. I'd gotten my street cred, but I still liked the cool kid life. And now was not the time to become the subject of an episode of Bird in the Backyard or ATL Homicide. I mean, those shows love the story of a good girl gone rogue, gone missing. You know what I'm saying?